Picture this. Your team is in the round of 32 of the World Cup. You're up 1-0, your best striker has just scored. The crowd is going insane. And then, seconds later, one single replay costs him a red card, rules him out of the next match, and here's the part that will actually make you angry. There is no appeal, none, zero. This isn't a hypothetical. This happened for real on July 1st, 2026, USA versus Bosnia-Herzegovina. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how one VAR rule just controlled the fate of an entire World Cup campaign, with no way to fight back. But before we dive in, quick question. Drop it in the comments. Who are you rooting for in this World Cup? And be honest, who do you actually think is lifting that trophy this time? Because trust me, after you see what almost derailed one of the favorites over a single replay, your answer might change by the time this video ends. So, let's set the scene. Levi's Stadium, Santa Clara, California. Just before halftime, Folarin Balogun, arguably USA's most dangerous forward at this tournament, scores a brilliant goal to put the Americans 1-0 up. Second half rolls on, the US is controlling the game comfortably, and then in the 64th minute, a loose ball sends both Balogun and Bosnian defender Tarek Muharemovic into a challenge. In real time, this looks completely normal. Two players competing for the ball, legs tangle, feet land awkwardly. The kind of thing that happens 10 times a match in any football game on the planet. Referee Rafael Claus doesn't even stop play. The game continues. And then, a message comes through from the VAR booth recommending an on-field review for a possible red card. And that's where the entire controversy begins. Now here's what you need to understand about how VAR is actually supposed to work in serious foul play situations. The protocol says that for a point of contact challenge like this, VAR is only allowed to review the exact moment of contact, in real time or, at most, very light slow motion, to judge whether the challenge was genuinely dangerous. But that is not what happened here, Bagyata. What VAR actually sent to the referee's pitch side monitor was extreme slow motion replay and freeze frame stills, showing Balogun's cleat dragging down the back of Muharemovic's ankle. And in slow motion, almost any football challenge looks brutal. Former Premier League VAR referee Andy Davies later told ESPN that this particular review broke protocol because slow motion and still images should never be the basis for a point of contact tackle decision. And in his professional opinion, this simply wasn't a red card offense at all. But once a referee walks over to that monitor and is shown a dramatic slow motion clip like that, he's essentially boxed in, because not sending the player off after being presented with those images would look indefensible in the moment. So that's exactly what happened. Klaus walked to the screen, looked at the replay, and pulled out the red card. Balogun stood there stunned. USA dropped to 10 men, but credit where it's due. Malik Tillman answered with a stunning free kick to make it 2-0, sending the United States into the knockout rounds with their first win at this stage since 2002. But even in victory, the entire locker room, and honestly the entire football world, was furious about that decision. Head coach Mauricio Pochettino didn't hold back in his press conference, saying flatly that in his eyes this was never a red card, and that it was simply a normal footballing action between two players competing for the ball. Midfielder Weston McKennie called the whole situation bogus and pointed out that there had been several nearly identical incidents earlier in the tournament where no card was shown at all. And here's where it gets really interesting. Pochettino himself brought up that in Argentina's match against Algeria, Lionel Messi had made an almost identical challenge, and Messi walked away with absolutely nothing, not even a yellow card. So the obvious question becomes, if two actions look that similar, how does one player get sent off while the other doesn't get so much as a caution? That inconsistency is exactly what's driving fans and pundits crazy right now. Because if VAR protocol isn't being applied the same way from match to match, referee to referee, then decisions start to feel random. And in a tournament where every single game can define a player's entire career, that kind of inconsistency is a massive problem. Now let's get to the part that makes this whole story even wilder. The appeal process, or rather, the complete lack of one. In club football, in competitions like the Premier League or the Champions League, teams can sometimes formally appeal a red card suspension, and those appeals do occasionally get overturned. But the World Cup plays by completely different rules. FIFA has confirmed, flat out, that once VAR has been involved and the referee makes an on-field decision, that decision is final. There is no mechanism to challenge it whatsoever. That means it doesn't matter how loudly the football world disagrees, it doesn't matter that US soccer itself thinks the call was wrong, nothing changes. Balogun is automatically ruled out of the round of 16 clash against Belgium, no questions asked. This isn't just a quirky football rule. It's a reminder that no matter how advanced VAR technology gets, the final say always comes down to one human being staring at a monitor. And when that person is shown the wrong kind of replay, the consequences can reshape an entire team's tournament in a matter of seconds. There's one more layer to this story worth knowing. If FIFA's disciplinary panel decides that Balogun's challenge was more serious than a standard one-match offense, his ban could actually be extended even further. Earlier in the same tournament, a Qatari midfielder had his one-match suspension extended all the way to 5 games after his challenge broke a Canadian player's leg. So far, no extension has been applied to Balogun, and US Soccer has already said publicly that if his ban is stretched beyond 1 game, they will appeal that specific decision. But for now, all eyes are on the Belgium match, where the United States will have to take the field without their most dangerous scorer. So what does all of this actually mean in the bigger picture? This wasn't just a small VAR call, Soweto. It's a perfect example of how a single review, one that takes only a few seconds, can completely reroute a team's entire World Cup run. And if you've been paying attention, this isn't even the first time this tournament that VAR has become the headline instead of the football itself. Whether it's been goal line calls, offside decisions, or now this red card controversy, it keeps happening almost every week. Fans who once believed VAR would make officiating cleaner and fairer are now watching it create an entirely new layer of controversy, one where camera angles and slow-motion replays can manufacture drama that wasn't really there in real time. Balogun's case has become the perfect symbol of that exact problem. An innocent-looking challenge that looks dramatic in slow motion, reviewed in a way that broke protocol with zero path to appeal. And the end result is a team walking into the biggest stage in football without its best player, through no real fault of his own. So the next time you're watching a match and that little VAR message flashes up on screen, remember this? That's not just a routine check. That review could potentially end a player's entire tournament, and there's absolutely nothing he or his team can do to fight it. If this video helped you actually understand what happened behind the scenes, make sure you subscribe, because the round of 16 is just getting started. And there are going to be a lot more decisions like this one that end up deciding who lifts this World Cup. And we'll be right here to break every single one of them down in plain, simple language.